48 days, 46 days actually, 48 matches, 10 teams and one ODI crown. The wait is over. The dates have been announced. The venues have been finalized. And India is all set to host the ICC World Cup 2023 this year. It's a battle for glory. The big battle will begin on October 5th at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad and will end on November 19th at the same venue. The 132,000 seating capacity Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad has taken center stage this World Cup. The world's largest cricket stadium will host 4 marquee games of this World Cup. The tournament opener, England versus Australia, the big one, India versus Pakistan, and the grand finale as well. Now, a total of 10 venues have been selected to host matches for this historic event. Apart from Ahmedabad, 9 other cities will host matches. They are Bangalore, Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Lucknow, Dharamshala, Pune, Mumbai, and Kolkata as well. Mumbai and Kolkata will host the semi-finals on November 15th and 16th, respectively. However, some of the established cricket centres like Mohali, Indore, Rajkot, Ranchi, and Nagpur have missed out. The exclusion of certain venues have left several people disappointed and several politicians smelling a conspiracy. Congress MP from Thiruvananthapuram, Shashi Tharoor, being one of them, the leader has expressed his anguish over Thiruvananthapuram, which he calls one of the best cricketing stadiums in the country. It's called the Sports Hub, not finding a mention in the BCCI's list. Speak to him because he's not the only one who has a problem. He's calling Gujarat now the new cricket capital of the country. But you have Punjab Sports Minister Gurmeet Singh, who's also saying that leaving Mohali was a political decision, nothing else. In fact, Bhagwant Maan is saying that I'm going to write to the BCCI about Mohali being left out. The BCCI is having none of it. BCCI's Vice President, Rajeev Shukla, today has categorically denied any sort of bias in allocating venues for the World Cup. The BCCI top brass is explaining Mohali's exclusion as well. They are claiming it did not meet the criteria that was set by the ICC. In fact, the BCCI is saying that states with new stadiums were given a chance. Mr. Shukla is also highlighting that a lot of venues from the south were already included, which is why Kerela is not one of the venues. Let's listen in to Rajeev Shukla, then we go across to Shashi Tharoor.
I think it's a well-drafted schedule and everybody has pondered over it and new venues have been added. Like Lucknow has been added. UP never got any chance to host World Cup, ever before. So they have been given chance. Guwahati has been given chance. Lot many venues from south has been added. So I think they have given a fair amount of consideration before finalizing the venue. Secondly, you should always keep in mind, ICC has to approve all those venues. It's not purely in BCCI's hands. ICC has to approve those venues. So all those who are raising objection, they should realize that we need a consent of ICC also while picking up these venues. They are just, all bilateral matches will be, given to Mohali. There will be no discrimination. This 100 test match of Virat Kohli had been given to Mohali. So it's not that, but their Mullapur stadium is getting ready. It's yet to be finished. So if Mullapur would have been given, definitely they would have got the World Cup matches. But this Mohali was not, meeting the standard fixed by ICC. That's why it has been denied.
The BCCI is finding some backing in the form of former board president and one of India's most celebrated cricketers and captains, Sourav Ganguly. Dada is saying that the selection of the venues has been absolutely fabulous and that the BCCI will make it a tournament to remember for the world. Now, the ICC World Cup is returning to India after a 12-year period. It's a momentous occasion for every cricket-loving citizen in this country. But all the controversy before the curtains are down is a sight no cricket fan wants to see, but well, a little controversy is great for television debates, isn't it? Let me go across to Shashi Tharoor, who's joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Tharoor, can I ask you, why are you upset with the World Cup venues list?
Well, look, there are 45 matches and they've just been confined to 10 places in our vast country. And I just think with the clout that the BCCI wields in the ICC, they should have arranged for more cities to be included in the list. So we don't have a situation where some places have 5 matches, 4 or 5 cities have 5 matches, and some places have none at all. I speak, of course, as Member of Parliament for Thiruvananthapuram, which has an international stadium of the highest quality, which has been praised by everyone who's played there, and indeed, which has now been selected for one of the warm-up matches. So I'm pleased at least about that. But the fact is that Thiruvananthapuram is not the only city that's feeling hard done by. Mohali feels badly done by, Ranchi feels badly done by, and you could argue the same about Guwahati, Cuttack, and so on. I mean, the whole idea of the BCCI used to be to bring the game to as many corners of the country as possible. To spread the joy of the World Cup would have been, I think, in their interest, as well as in the interest of the game and of cricket lovers everywhere.
So essentially, Mr. Tharoor, are you saying that the venue pick was purely political and nothing else?
There's always a certain amount of politics, not so much in the party sense, but rather the who wields the greatest influence in the BCCI. I mean, it can't just be by accident that Ahmedabad has the first match and the last match, the opener and the final, and the 2 marquee games of the tournament, India versus Pakistan and England versus Australia. And you're not going to persuade me that was done by drawing of lots or by sheer coincidence. It's because of the influence that's now being wielded by Ahmedabad, and more power to them. It's entirely fair to say that when Jagmohan Dalmia Saab was very powerful, Calcutta got the 87 final. When Sharad Pawar Saab was more powerful, Mumbai got the 2011 final. I mean, that's the way politics is in our country, and cricket administration is no exception. But even then, they didn't have to keep all the goodies for themselves. They could have spread it around a bit.
Now, of course, the BCCI has had a comeback to your tweet. They are saying that Thiruvananthapuram, your constituency, the stadium there called the Sports Hub, is in a bit of a legal mess. And it's not maintained well either because of that legal mess. The company that constructed it has gone bankrupt. In fact, last year there were some matches that had to be cancelled. The Sports Hub doesn't come under the KCA. That's the Kerela, Cricket Association. So how can we hold a match there? And for Mohali, they are saying that Mohali is simply not ready to hold an international match. So how can you hold an international match in a stadium which is not well maintained or well equipped or undergoing renovations? It will be an international embarrassment if you do.
Look, I'm prepared to accept that, if they were trying to work within a limit of 10 cities, that they had to make some choices, and these cities got left out for those reasons. I might add, speaking as MP for Thiruvananthapuram, that it certainly was remediable. In fact, we have played ODIs and T20s internationally in Thiruvananthapuram. The stadium was taken over a couple of weeks before the match by the KCA, and they fixed it to everyone's satisfaction. Indeed, everyone who's come and played there has usually had nothing but praise for Thiruvananthapuram. So the mere fact that there is a legal limbo because the people who control it have gone bankrupt is completely academic, because lots of events, the national games took place there, for God's sake. Lots of events have taken place in the Thiruvananthapuram Sports Hub Stadium, and this could have easily been taken over. Indeed, the warm-up games that are going to take place in that stadium also require decent stadium facilities. So obviously, it was good enough for that. It could have been good enough for a game as well. I'm not sure I buy the excuses. I think the problem is that we didn't use our clout enough there. I remember the late Arun Jaitley telling me that India's influence in the ICC is only analogous to the US's influence on the UN Security Council. I was in the UN in those days when he told me that. If we have that kind of clout, we could have easily told the ICC, look, we're a very big country. We're promoting the sport everywhere. We need 13 venues or 14 venues and not just 10. And I don't think anybody would have stood in our way. I think that's the real failure of the BCCI, and everything else is post facto excuses.
Well, the BCCI is arguing that they did just that it is because they pushed with the ICC that they got the 10 venues. Otherwise, it is 6 or 7 usually, for a host country, any country that is hosting the World Cup. Now, the point is, Mr. Tharoor, there are 23 BCCI authorized stadiums. Some will be left out. What can you do? You cannot please 1.4 billion people in this country, as much as the BCCI would like to spread joy everywhere.
Yeah, that's undoubtedly true because obviously with 45 games in this format, you're not going to have 23 venues. I agree, though even that would not have been impossible, but who knows? I mean, I think that to my mind, 13, 15 venues should not have been difficult because we are in a situation where multiple venues have 5 matches each. Now, that's really too much of a good thing. But so I'm, happy for them. I just think that happiness could have been shared with a few others as well.
All right. Mr. Tharoor, always good to have you on the show. Thank you very much for joining us here on Mirror Now. Now, speaking of venues, take a look at what happened at Lord's today. It was day 1 of the second test of the Ashes, and this really became the highlight. Let's put the pictures on our screens. Play was disrupted for a brief period after protesters who belong to an activist group called Just Stop Oil quite literally invaded the pitch. Now, players from both sides combined their resources, as it were, to stop these protesters from reaching the strip before they were escorted away by the officials. Just take a look there. We're certainly hoping nothing of this sort happens during the World Cup, which India is hosting after 12 years. With those pictures on your screens, we'll wrap the show. Nivedana is up next with all the news at the top of 9. Thanks for watching and good night.